Wow. Hope you all had a great Christmas. So good to see you. I've had some nice time with my family resting, and I hope you are too. I'm going live here on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So I'm kind of looking between two cameras. Please forgive me. Want to make sure that I cover everybody out there. I'm talking today a little bit about what we can do going forward, right? We're all thinking, okay, let's hope 2021 is a much better year, right? Yes, I am too. So I'm thinking about goals, and I'm sure you all are too. And so that's what I thought I would talk to you about today, because a lot of our goals have to do with health and wellness. But you can apply what I'm going to talk to you about in any part of your life. Hopefully you will apply it to your health and wellness, though, because it's a big deal. It's the basis. If we don't have our health, then we don't really have anything, right? So today this is like an important thing that I do every year, and I hope that you take some time to just reflect in terms of what it is you want and you don't want during this next year. So we all know we don't want COVID and we don't want to be locked down. Those are two things for sure. But in terms of our own, what we can do, what we have the capability to do within ourselves in our own life, what do we want? And what do we not want? And sometimes you have to start with what I don't want. And I would suggest that you get a piece of paper and you write it down. You write these things down, what you don't want. If you don't want to be the same weight, in 6 months. If you don't want to have, a nagging backache. If you don't want to have cravings for sugar, whatever it is, you can write those down, or you can go right to what you do want. I want to, lose 20 pounds, or I want to be able to go on that hike that I like to go on, or I want to be able to pick up my grandkids and not hurt. So there's all sorts of things that you can put on that. Make sure that you write things down that you really want. All right. So that's the next step, is to rate what you want on a scale of 1 to 10. So if it's, if your 10 is the highest and you're rating, between like 7, 8, 9, 10, those are pretty substantial things that you want, and you'll probably work towards them and put more effort toward them than if they're on the lower part of that scale. So that's just something to be aware of. It has to be something that you really, really want. Otherwise, you won't make the effort in the long run to make those changes. So now I talk a lot about the brain, all right? So the brain is so important in everything we do, obviously, because it's our control center, right? And if we don't consider this, then we may fail because our brain is actually meant to keep us safe. And it's by design. Everything that, it triggers or whatever in our body has to do with, okay, is this being safe in what I want to do and what I'm thinking about? It also has to do with what's happened in the past. So when you consider your goals and the things that you want to do, sometimes if you set a big, scary goal, your brain's going to say, that's not safe. And it's going to figure out ways to sabotage you. So what you want to do is actually you want to set some safe goals. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't set a big goal. I'm saying that you need to set some goals that are attainable for sure, but then you want to set some safe steps towards that goal. So for instance, if you want to have if you want your weight to be 20 pounds less, okay, that's a great goal and everything, but the problem is it's an objective, right? It's not a habit. It's not something that's going to get you to that goal. So what you want to do is you want to set safe steps to that goal. So if you want to lose weight and you've determined that you need to cut out sugar or gluten or or grains, for instance, because those are two things I know can help you lose weight pretty quickly. If you set the goal that every day you're not going to have the same whatever sugar that you typically have. So say if you have maybe you put sugar in your coffee, or you go to Starbucks. You set a goal that you're not going to go to Starbucks every day this week. All right. So that's a step towards that goal of losing the weight, so that you're not like focused on this big, huge, scary goal of I'm going to lose 20 pounds. And it's a little bit far out there for you to do right away. So you have to set those small steps towards that goal. Now, in terms of, I talk a lot about pain in the body. A lot of times people have pain because they're not doing the daily activities they need to do. So the other thing is you want to make each of these steps something you can do within like 2 minutes. All right. So that you start to build confidence and your brain starts to say, okay, I can do this. This is safe. I'm not going to fail at this. So for instance, if you're in pain and you need to change something in your body, you find one exercise you can do every day for less than 2 minutes, or maybe it's 2 exercises, whatever you're going to do. Your step is you can do less than 2 minutes, and you do that every day. Okay. And same thing with eliminating food, or, whatever it is. It may be something with your finances, or it may be something you want to do in your relationships, but you set that one thing that you can do every day and you just keep doing it. Okay. And you make it a habit. So habits are really important, right? It helps us. We are habitual beings. And so if we set that habit and we do it every day, we're going to be much more likely to keep that going. So you do that until you feel like, okay, I got it. It's no problem. It's part of my life, not a big deal. And then you add another safe step. Okay. So this may be a week's time. It may be a month's time, or it may be just a couple days. Whatever it is that you want to do, just keep adding one habit on top of the other. And that is actually going to help you get to that big, scary goal, right? So that is something that I've used over the years. Is I've always created habits. And if I can find a time and space in my day to create that habit, then it will stick. So that's the next point I want to make, is you want to put this on your calendar. You want to put it in a place where it's not going to get overrun by other things. It's in a calendar that always gets done. So for me, I have to put those things that I want to build in for myself, for my self-care, in early in the morning. I just have to do it or it won't get done. And so that's where I put it. Some people might be right before bed, or, maybe you take a lunch break and you do it always on your lunch break. So find that place in the calendar where you that's always what you do. And it's not a place in the calendar that it's squeezed in, right? It's got a prominent place in your calendar, even if it's only 2 minutes, right? Which we're talking about. And over time, it may be 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes, and then 15 minutes, but at least it's got that place in your calendar and it's always there. All right. So those are the main things. And you just keep rinsing and repeating that. And so you add those things until you get to your big goal. And then you look back and you're like, wow, I got that big goal. Now, another important thing about this is every day when you've done your thing, your 2 minutes of whatever, you need to congratulate yourself. And it may not be a big thing. I mean, it could be you do a little dance, maybe you listen to a little bit of your favorite music, or maybe for me, I smell my essential oils because that makes me feel good. Or maybe you just, sorry, I lost my earphone. Maybe you, find something that you can do that just makes you feel good. Like, I did this and I'm glad. It may be just telling your spouse or your partner that, hey, I did this. And then they say, yeah, that's awesome. And that makes you feel good. So always celebrate every day. And then once you reach your big, scary goal, then you can really celebrate, right? All right. So now I'm going to give you some pitfalls to avoid. Okay. So I gave you the tips, the tricks. Now these are the pitfalls. So the biggest pitfall is trying to change everything at once. And I am the biggest I mean, I do this all the time. I get these big, crazy ideas. I'm like, I'm just going to change it all at once and get it done. But that often causes us to fail because it just becomes too much and we get overwhelmed. So try not to do it all at once and break it up into those small bits. And then you want to make sure you're seeking a ritual when you're setting your goal and not a result, right? So you have that goal at the end, right? That's your I say your vision, and your actual goal for the day is a ritual. So the ritual is to do that thing for 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever it is it comes out to be. Obviously it starts at 2 minutes in the beginning, like I said. So that is your ritual and that is your goal every day to accomplish that. Okay. And the other thing is you don't want to discount all the other things that might come into play, okay, that could sabotage you, like your environment, the people that you're around, all these things. So if there's something in your environment that needs to change, you need to make sure that you take that into consideration and that you change that. So some people are triggered by things that remind them that they need to do something. So make sure that's in your environment. And sometimes the triggers cause people to not do it. So make sure that you discard that out of your environment. And then also, if you have somebody in your environment that's negative, right, that doesn't encourage you, then you want to make sure that you limit that. Obviously, it's hard if it's somebody in your family, but you find a way to limit that exposure and to help you so that that doesn't affect your outcome of obtaining your goals. And then the other pitfall to avoid is to assume that little changes don't add up, because the little changes do add up. It's super, super important to, like I said, celebrate those little wins every day, because when you do that, your brain says, okay, we can keep doing this, right? It feels safe. So avoid trying to do everything at once, okay? And avoid starting a habit that's too big, okay? So make sure that when you set these habits that they're attainable every day, that you can there's small steps towards your bigger end goal, okay? And remember to look for the ritual and not the result, all right? And don't worry or don't discount your environment and the things in your environment that can affect you. So you want to make sure that you control that part of it, and then also don't assume that small things don't add up. So I hope this was helpful for you. I want you to attain all your goals in 2021, and I want to know that you're getting healthier and you're feeling great because you've put some small steps in towards your bigger goals. All right. So happy New Year, everybody. I look forward to seeing you in 2021.